While learning the art of improvisational theater over the past few years, I've come to realize that many of the skills practiced in improv are directly transferable to other areas of life, whether it be the work environment or in our personal life. Many improvisers have already figured this out, and I'd like to share my observations with you. I hope these mantras can positively influence your experience and help make life better. Our society generally teaches us that failure is bad. This is why the most remembered quote about failure is the well-known, "Failure is not an option." Not only do we tend to spin a negative context onto failure, but some relish observing others in their failures. Witness the popularity of reality competition TV shows like Idol and Survivor. Reality TV doesn't focus on success until the last episode, but it spends the entire season focusing on participants' failures. This is why the first lesson all improvisers learn is the hardest. Failure is not to be feared. It is to be embraced with a smile. There are so many reasons why. We learn from failure. Failure creates an emotional experience, which is much more memorable, so the lessons we learn stick. We have to consider failure in a larger scope of our lives. With an awareness of the big picture, it's easy to perceive failure as misfortune. Going through failure narrows down the possible approaches to success. Failure strengthens character. With each effort, you grow a little stronger. Taken in the proper context, failure, especially how we react to it, inspires us and those around us. Becoming more comfortable with failing allows you to take more risks. Failure is better than regret. Not trying at all leaves us wondering, what if? Failure leaves us open to better opportunities. Failure makes eventual success seem sweeter. It's funny because when you finally succeed, you don't remember the failures, or at least they no longer weigh you down. The fear of failure stops us even sooner than failure itself. Life is too short to be imprisoned by fears, fear of rejection, failure, embarrassment. These fears only hold back your true potential. Nobody has time for your fear, especially you. One of the biggest concepts in improvisational theater is that of yes and. The idea is that anything said or done is to be treated as a valid offer or idea, and that you must build on that offer or idea and evolve it to its logical conclusion. You can never really know in advance whether an idea is going to fail or succeed. The problem is that we've been conditioned into believing, and our egos don't argue, that it is natural and acceptable to deny, block, and ridicule new ideas, especially if they don't fit within our own paradigm or don't massage our own egos. The logical and proper thing to do is accept the offer, try to build upon it, and pass that slightly evolved idea back to the person who made the offer, or off to the next person. Then the building continues. Even if an idea doesn't succeed, there are likely elements that were part of its overall development that stand out as good material to try including in another idea. Not only does this methodology give all new ideas a chance, it also fosters an environment of cooperation and creativity. You're much more motivated and encouraged to offer ideas in the first place if they're accepted as equals and developed through to their logical conclusion. You'll only know that an idea doesn't work once you try it. Every idea should be acknowledged and developed. Make your partners look like geniuses is essentially a continuation of the accept all offers concept. Nothing makes an improviser, a team member, or an individual feel better than when someone else props them up. Everyone likes to hear "good job," but verbal kudos are not the only way to motivate another person. The name of the game in improvisation is to make your partner or partners look good. It not only makes them feel good about themselves and what they're doing, but it also makes them want to reciprocate. Once that cycle starts, the power it can manifest is formidable. Sounds great, but how do you do it? The best improv happens when people focus on helping each other. If you make an offer I'm going to accept and build on it. If you're taking the scene somewhere, I'm going to support and go with you. If you're struggling, I will help you out and pick up the slack. When everyone adopts this mindset, then everyone sets everyone else up. Could you imagine if everyone's primary goal was to have fun and make each other look good? Go about the world seeing what you can do to make others look good. You may be pleasantly surprised at the results you see. When you treat other people like geniuses, you'll often find that they rise to the occasion. There's also a huge side effect of using this approach. It builds confidence in themselves, and it builds trust in you. Philosophically, improvisation focuses on bringing one's awareness into the moment. It requires us to develop a profound understanding for the action one is doing while they're doing it. Sounds like Zen Buddhism, doesn't it? Being aware of your actions and thoughts and what all your senses are bringing in as part of your everyday routine allows us to make better decisions and create better offers. Being in the moment allows the improviser to act with a range of options that best fit the situation, even if they've never experienced a similar situation themselves. Perhaps a good example of this is when improvisers are on stage creating a scene in a bakery. The player who is not in the moment might be thinking ahead about a clever line or gimmick they might use in the scene when their partner is finished talking. But a player who is in the moment is surrounding themselves with the elements of a bakery, even though they're invisible. They're watching and listening to their partner to see if there are clues as to what detail in the story is a potential road to be explored. These skills and techniques strongly influence one's competence at work and in personal life as well. In a work environment, this could be the manager who wants to call a meeting with the staff, unaware that half of them aren't present, or that there's a blizzard raging outside. Someone in the moment is equipped with more data and perspective on the current situation. Guess who excels at this approach? A child. Watch a child as they play. They're not thinking about what happened yesterday or what they're going to do later. They're role-playing. They're building forts and castles, they're fighting bad guys or feeding their doll, and nothing else in the world exists. Not even a thought of what's for supper. If they get mad or get hurt, they overreact. Nothing else matters. But soon they return to normal, happy again, the offending situation forgotten, without a grudge. We could use children as inspiration and try to be more like them sometimes, especially with regards to focus. Too often, we're caught up in the past or the what if of the future while ignoring what's happening in the present. Just listen and react to what was said or done. This is an extension of the be in the moment concept. On stage, in meetings and conversations, we tend to stop listening once we think we know what someone is going to say, because we convince ourselves that we already know the whole story. Then we start thinking about our response, often at the expense of missing the true point of, or a major detail about, what is being said. If you want to be a better communicator, stop assuming you know what is being communicated and start really listening to what is actually being said by the other person. One great example of this is that in an improv scene, if the actor, instead of listening, is planning ahead on what they're going to say or do, by the time the plan is finished being formulated and ready to execute, the scene has probably already evolved to a point where that plan is no longer relevant. I believe that life is the same. As an improviser, your character has to reveal your motivation. Why are you doing what you're doing? This question is equally valuable in everyday life. What is your motivation for doing what you're doing? If you ask yourself this about everything, you'll realize there's a number of things that you do out of habit, or because it's a societal norm. For many of these things, you aren't really motivated or excited to do. So stop it. Uncertainty and timidity are the death of an improviser on stage. Since everything is made up, you just have to make a decision and go with it. Once you make the decision, it's up to you and your partner or partners to run with it and make it work. In life, we don't often get things completed simply because we haven't decided what we want. Until we do decide what we want, we'll never be able to achieve it. People excel at finding excuses not to do something. To succeed, you have to actually do something. It does no good for you or the world if you have the greatest idea since sliced bread, but do nothing about it. That you do something is far more important than what you do. When in doubt, have fun. One of the big reasons improvisers do what they do, it's fun. Play games. Make interesting choices. Enjoy yourself. In improv, there is no right or wrong, just fun. Life is the same as long as nobody gets hurt. Excluding immoral and illegal activities, there is no wrong, only what you choose to make it. So when in doubt, choose fun.